I was just tell them where to start for like actual information.
Wait, am I?
No, you guys can keep talking. We're waiting for a little bit. I just wanted to like be like for everybody, because I know people are logging on and I'm not sure who's driving or not, but like you guys are in the right place. Like we are going to go over holiday nutrition, but I just wanted to give everybody some time to get on.
Sweet.
So my sister-in-law has never seen Superbad, and it's like a family thing. Like every single time we see her, Ryan and I watched it again, like I said last night, and it was so funny. And I texted her and I was like, you need to see this, but it's just like way too raunchy for her. Like I think she'd get way too uncomfortable, but I want to make her sit down and watch it with me because it's so funny. Has anyone seen Superbad or not seen it?
Oh, heck yeah. It's a classic.
Oh, it's so funny. That, and I forget how funny it is, but I was dying laughing the entire time. And I don't know the last time I sat through a whole entire movie and had my phone down and just was like listening and watching it and like crying as I was watching it. It was definitely something. If you guys are not feeling great about your week or your day or whatever, watch Superbad. And Jonah Hill, love him. He's freaking hilarious.
Stacy and I just watched Just Friends. Well, I guess Mason was there too, but we were like crying because we were laughing so hard. That movie, classic Christmas movie right there. Just Friends.
Yeah. Just Friends is freaking funny too, actually.
So funny. We were dying.
Erica, it's 9:06. Do you want to start?
Yeah, so why don't we go ahead and get going? I don't know who wants to go first. Erin, do you want to get started? Because I know sometimes you'll do like the nuts and bolts, and then we'll tie up at the very end with like what to look forward to for the rest of the month. Are you okay with starting, Erin, or would Megan or Shanice do one of you guys want to start?
I thought I was going to go last so that I can do the tie up at the end with whatever I was going to say.
Okay, that's fine. Megan or Shanice, do one of you guys want to start?
I don't care.
Shanice,
okay,
why don't you go ahead
first.
and start?
Yeah.
I'll go after. Why don't you two go back to back, and then I'm going to touch on mindset, and then Erin can tie up at the end.
Okay. We just had a holiday, y'all. I mean, we got through Thanksgiving and we were able to show all of you guys what am I trying to say? The recipes for Thanksgiving. And I have to say, we talked a lot about this before at our team call before Thanksgiving. And I tried to follow all of those things to a T. And I also didn't feel guilty when I like went rogue because I wanted to stick as closely as I can to my nutrition and also like want to be able to enjoy a slice of pie and be okay with that. So that was really nice. I felt really comfortable with that. I have trouble going back to the East Coast with my family and like all of their really great recipes and all of that stuff and being able to be like, guys, I can't have all of this. And so I know that for Christmas, I might struggle with, trying to keep it together because I don't get to see my family often. And so when I do go and see my family, it's like a big celebration. And my grandmother brings out every single one of my favorite recipes ever since I was younger, because it's like a celebration when we're together. So one thing that I'm going to try and stay in control of is I'm going to bring my containers with me. Like first and foremost, I'm going to bring my containers with me because I'm following the Ultimate Fixate portion. I do not follow 2B Mindset just yet. I heard that it's amazing, but with the time nutrition that I'm on for 80-day obsession, it just really makes sense for me to follow the Ultimate Fixate, which are the containers. And I'm going to try really hard to just say no, which with my family can get pretty stressful because they like to push and my like nationality is, I'm Cape Verdean. And so there's a lot of different like foods and culture involved with eating. And we just, you know, we are together because of the food and the hospitality and loving on each other. And so if I were to go home and be like, I can't have your, you know, whatever my grandmother is making, she would kind of get hurt a little bit. So I have to make sure that I could have it in little portions and not indulge too much into it, and also be totally okay with indulging in other things like wine and alcohol, because those I will not X that out of my my food intake, because those things keep me sane and they keep me happy. And so I like doing it with my family. I like eating with my family. I like cooking with my grandmother and learning all the different recipes. And I'm okay with doing that. I just have to make sure that I can limit that and not overindulge, because I've worked so hard to get where I am. And I don't want to feel guilty about eating that extra cookie because of my progress, which is not, that's all a mindset game anyways. You shouldn't ever feel guilty about whatever you're eating. You should just eat it and feel happy that you are able to enjoy it. So that's my tip around nutrition: being able to say no, bringing my containers, and still being present in the moment and not feeling guilty with eating whatever I want to put in my stomach, because it makes me feel happy.
Sweet. Okay, you ready for me to go?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, so when it comes to the holidays, a big thing for me is trying to compensate. So during the holidays, I will say, oh, I'm not going to eat XYZ until 2:00 in the afternoon. But something that I think is really important is, just because you might be eating bad the day before, or you might know that your lunch or your holiday dinner is not going to be great, does not mean your body doesn't need fuel in the morning. So keeping a consistent fuel during the day is really important for me during the holidays. Like, I used to try and say, oh, I know Christmas dinner is going to be super heavy, and the day before I would like eat like crackers and water or something. Like, I would just try and cut out and compensate for the calories that I was going to consume the next day. So super important, consistently fueling your body and just watching your portions. I follow 2B mindset, so I don't do the containers anymore, just because when I lived with my mom for 4 months, it was very impractical. I didn't have time, and I didn't have the space, the fridge capacity to store and hold all of my meals. So I just adapted. And that's what's great about these 2 programs, is you can literally go back and forth, like whatever's working for you in a certain phase. And for right now, 2B mindset works best. Something else that I especially learned over Thanksgiving was supplement the high starchy carb foods with some sort of vegetable replacement. I did grilled carrot or baked carrots with some not cinnamon sugar, some brown sugar on them. And I didn't even want sweet potatoes anymore, because it was just like a replication of what I made, but it was a healthier version. So learning how to kind of sub in healthier options, like more colorful options than the starchy foods that you might. But if you want potatoes, guys, like potatoes are my love language. They are literally everything for me. So it doesn't matter what form of potato. I'm going to have a little bit of mashed potatoes. I'm going to have some sweet potatoes. We'll like fry up potatoes sometimes, smashed garlic potato. Listen, I could go on about potatoes. Like, I will have potatoes, but learning to maybe eat the healthier options before you indulge in the not so healthy options, because I was filling up on all of the things that probably weren't the best for me. So something that I tried to do this Thanksgiving was like eat my vegetables first, eat my good foods first. And then when I wanted the not as great things that I wasn't going to skip because I wanted them, I ended up eating less of them. And something that I kind of fall back onto with 2B mindset is the water first, veggies most. Drink some water before you're going to eat, because I've experienced so far since I've started doing that, drinking at least like 8 to 16 ounces of water before a meal, I am way less likely to just overindulge on my meal than I was before. It helps fill me up. And then another thing that I've kind of adapted, which goes back to skipping meals to enjoy the big meal that you're about to have, I found that I was eating worse. So if I eat something healthier for me in the mornings and I'm eating like a more balanced day, I'm not going to go into Thanksgiving dinner and just like scarf everything down before my brain even acknowledges my head, like what I've eaten. And And then last but not least, like the biggest thing that I have with holiday nutrition is kind of ties back into what Shanice said, know your pushers. I was listening to personal development the other day, and she talked about knowing what people are going to say to you and having a comeback already before you go to dinner. So if I know my mom's going to be like, oh, why aren't you eating that? Why aren't you having this wine? Why aren't you having this? I'm going to have something to say back to her, because I feel like everybody is so different. And sometimes your family is not going to understand why you're eating the way you are. It's not like I'm just trying to eliminate and disrespect people's food choices and things like that, because that is what some of my family members think. Like my grandparents are like, oh, you can have this one day to eat whatever you want. And I know that. I know I can have the one day to eat whatever I want, but it's me choosing to eat how I want to eat. And I'm still enjoying everything that I want to eat. So those are kind of my go-to for the holidays, is just knowing when to say no, like Shanice said, maybe replacing a few of the less healthy options with something better for you first, and then still enjoying the good things that you love. But yeah, that's kind of my go-tos for the holidays.
Okay, so thank you guys. And I love both of those. Shanice, especially, I think the one thing too, you both tied together was knowing that you're going in with your goals. And I think one of the things and one of the traps we can get caught in around the holidays, but the rest of the year as well, is sometimes you make a decision to do exercises, to go in on a nutrition program, and you start doing it, and it's like, this is great. Like my phrasing is, I always go, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all the structure this gives me. Look at how wonderful this is. Like, I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And then I get 3 weeks in and I'm feeling good, and I know that, and I recognize it, and I start getting in my head, and I'm like, man, look at what everybody else has. I can't have that. And I get really, really stuck in that comparison mindset about, oh my gosh, like I can't, it's taken away from me. And the reality is, this is your decision. These are your choices of why you're making the decision to be here. You're making the decision to follow a nutrition program. You're making the decision to follow a fitness program. You're making a decision to show up for yourself, however that looks. It doesn't have to be fitness and nutrition, but I think for me, when I start shifting into that, oh, I can't have that, that's when things start to go downhill, because it feels like deprivation. And sometimes it is deprivation. If I'm going in, and Shanice talked a lot about, if she's going home for the holidays and they have all these incredible family recipes that are there that you only see once a year, and you truly enjoy being able to enjoy that with your family, it's so important not to take that off the table for yourself and deny yourselves those things that you enjoy. Because I think one of the biggest things I've learned over the last several years is, the second we start saying no to things just because we don't think we're going to get the results we want, we're then stepping out of line of honoring ourselves and honoring why we're showing up in the first place. And I mean, if you're comfortable, and you don't have to, like, drop in the chat, like, why is it that you wanted to get started with nutrition, with fitness, with just really reframing your mindset in general? Like, why are you here? Why do you choose to go into the holidays and want to make a plan? Why did you show up for an hour call on a Sunday morning about holiday nutrition? Like, go ahead and stick it in there, or even just think about it for yourself, because I think one of the biggest pieces is this is driven by you. And I think I wanted to talk a little bit about that mindset around holiday nutrition, because number one, it's making your game plan. What do you want for yourself through the holidays? Do you want to go in and say, you know what, I want to be able to, like, have the freedom to not think about Ultimate Portion Fix, or have the freedom to not think about 2B Mindset this holiday season, and really be okay with that, because that's okay too. Erin, lack of confidence before. Oh, whoa. Okay. I'm going to stop and read these for a second, because I can't talk and read at the same time. Thank you, guys. Yeah. So Erin, the lack of confidence, knowing the portions were out of control, but not sure what to do about it. Stephanie, working out all you want. And you're right. The consistency, if we're pouring in on our workouts, but our nutrition is not what's best for our body, and it's different. I've got food allergies. There are things that I literally can't have, or I feel terrible. Steph does too. I know Erin does as well. And that's the thing. If I make the choice to go, somebody told me a couple weeks ago that, can you do us a favor and just eat a Reese's cup? And I was like, at first I wanted to be hurt. And then I was like, no, I can't, because I'm going to feel terrible, because I'm allergic to everything in it. Internal healing and mental health.
Unless you get the Reese's cups with the almond butter. What is the ones, the Justins? Is that what they're called?
Yes,
they
but they still have milk in
I
them.
still, yeah, you can't, Justin's, you can't, it's the Trader Joe's ones that are the sunflower ones that are the only ones.
Oh,
I've been
this
able to
the
find
Trader
that
Joe's.
are-
I'm like, yo, I will indulge in a Justin's. I will eat all of that thing. Maybe even get 2. I'm not joking. Sometimes I'll get 2.
Yeah, Kayla also like work out consistently and not letting people sway your choices. And so I think if you guys could raise who on here is on here because you want to be able to make decisions for yourself and not be driven by somebody else. Okay. I was like, I see almost every single hand up. And I think thanks, Madison. I think that's one of the biggest things is this is a platform that we can use. Our fitness and nutrition is a way that we can show up for ourselves and gain that control. But at the end of the day, it's really remembering it's about you making your decisions. And if we go into the holiday and your decision is, I want to be able to enjoy this, you're in control of that decision and you're driving it. And really stepping out of that shame cycle around, oh my gosh, I wasn't in control of this decision. And that might look like if you want to follow Ultimate Portion Fix to a T, like Shanice said, take your containers with you. Go ahead, connect with me, connect with your coach. This Friday, next week, the week before, connect with us and we can sit with you and put together that meal plan. Okay, what are you bringing to that holiday festivity? Yes, the root medley is very, very good. Yes, and accountability. Lean into this group. We can create a message board and say, like, what are you making for your recipes for a holiday? The Thanksgiving recipe PDF is already in there. Beachbody blog has a ton of recipes as well. If you are like, I want to be all in on my containers, I want to follow nutrition to a T. I know Megan did that this week. She's like, I want to be 100% on my nutrition program. Not because I'm worried about the results that I'm going to get, but because that means I know I can choose to show up for myself in that way. Like, get clear with yourself on your own goals. What is this time for you? And what do you want to see from yourself over the next couple of weeks? And in addition with that, I think the second part is I always try to tell myself, am I setting my goal? Am I trying to get to 100% or am I trying to get 110% when I can realistically only score 100% on that quiz? If I say I'm going to go in, like I'm going home, like I'm flying home, I have to sign a contract for the house, I'm seeing my parents, like I have to get on a plane to fly home for Christmas, which means I have to quarantine for 14 days before and 14 days after, which means I'm going to be on a plane for 7 hours to be able to get home. If I go in and I'm like, I am going to eat Time Nutrition 100% on the hour, have that face mask on my plane, and I'm not going to miss anything on an entire ride, that is probably not feasible for me. So if I go in and I'm holding myself to a standard that I realistically don't have the tools to achieve, I'm going to feel like I'm failing. So I think number one is getting clear on your goals. Number two is making sure that the goals that you're setting for yourself are within the realm of what you have the tools to do right now. That might look like if you're just getting started with a nutrition program and you're like, man, it's still really, really difficult for me to figure out what I need to put in my containers. And I'm going to be uncomfortable walking into the family with this book, like taking the book and saying like, okay, this is what I can have that's listed in this container. This is what the container is. If you're not at a place where you feel comfortable doing that, that's okay. That's okay. But make sure you're honest with yourself about that, because if you're like, I'm going to do that, you walk in and it stays in your purse the whole time. And then you're getting in your own mind around like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't get that out. I can't believe I didn't look at that. Then we're going to go down, or it's like, I would go down. I don't know if you would, but I would go down that rabbit hole of not just, am I eating in a way that doesn't feel good to me? I'm mad at myself because I didn't stick to my commitment to myself. So getting clear about your goals, making sure the goals you're setting for yourself are feasible where you are at right now. And that piece, making sure the feasible where you're at right now is huge, because if you're trying to meet yourself somewhere that you want to be instead of somewhere that you are going to set yourself up to fail. If you're trying to meet yourself at the place that you want to be instead of where you are, you're not truly meeting yourself with all the tools that you need in this moment. So being clear around that. Then fourth is those really, I know that was a lot of mindset, the tangible resources. So if you guys, can you guys drop, I know there's lots of things in the chat. I had to like put it down. Otherwise I was going to like get distracted because I am a squirrel and will literally go to 17 topics at once. Can you guys drop if you don't know this yet, it's okay, but what nutrition plan are you following? Are you following 2B Mindset? Are you following Ultimate Portion Fix? Are you brand new? This is the first time you've ever heard those words and you have no idea what I'm talking about. Go ahead and put that too. Okay. So Stephanie, yours is the one that says iPhone, right? Stephanie, your 2B Mindset? Perfect. It just says iPhone on my thing. I'm like, I think that's Stephanie. Okay. Lori, you're brand new. And Lori, so anybody that is brand new, Lori, we will over next week, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce you to both of them. And Shanice and Megan and I will guide you through which one's going to be the best fit for you. So that's completely, absolutely okay. So 2B, Becky, yes, Becky, I actually really like that. So Becky said 2B Mindset, but using the container to control portions. And I know Megan also, and I have actually done that as well. Gone and just to make sure that I use the containers to make sure I'm eating enough, because there are foods in my mind, and I don't know if anybody else, this comes out specifically in the holidays. There are foods in my mind that I demonize. Like there are foods that are quote unquote bad foods. And I will say, like in my dialogue with myself, I almost always try to, anything that's a descriptor around food, if I'm labeling it as good or bad, or I ate well or I didn't eat well, I try to take those qualifiers out of my language around food, because if I'm telling myself like you ate badly, that makes me feel like I did something bad. I ate something that was bad for me. Guys, there is not food, unless you're literally like, don't peel lead paint like off your walls. Like obviously not a good idea. It's not food anyway. And food is not bad. Food is not it's not bad for you. Depending on how we utilize it, we're using it to fuel us, or we're making 2B Mindset talks about silly carbs. Like there are things that are silly and that are fun and that we are eating for emotional purposes. Emotional eating is a thing. And I think I really try to be very careful and want to impress to you guys as well that sometimes you're going to eat emotionally. You're going to want to celebrate with that family. And it's whether or not you make the decision of if that's how you want to attack your nutrition. Because if I decide I'm really angry and upset, for example, like last night, I was really, really upset. Like I was upset. I was incredibly overwhelmed. I have too much on my plate. I was angry at myself because I took extra stuff and put it on my plate that I shouldn't have put on my plate. Because guys, no matter how far down the line you get, you're still not going to honor yourself sometimes. Your gut is going to tell you don't do it, and you're going to do it. And then you have to come to terms with, how do I move forward past that? And so I was like, literally, I stopped thinking and I will start just like putting food in my mouth. I know that. And I've recognized that about myself, because it's a way that I can avoid dealing with the emotions that I'm feeling. And so being aware of what emotions are your cues. Is it feeling like, Megan, you had said, is it feeling like your parents saying like, you should do this, or like, I don't understand? Do you start to eat emotionally when you feel upset, or when you feel overwhelmed, or when you feel, I actually always want ice cream when I'm feeling like I need to celebrate something, because I played sports my whole life. You won a sports game, you got ice cream. You got A's on your report card, you got ice cream. So when I crave ice cream, usually I'm looking for what is that underlying emotion underneath it. Yeah. It was like, Kayla, it showed up as like a little box. I'm like, I don't even know what she put in there, but now I can see it when I open the chat. So what
it's an emoji.
Yeah. What are the emotions that are driving those cravings? And do I want to honor it right now? So last night I found myself in the closet, like pulling it open, and I'm eating LOL. And now I'm looking for Lori's glasses. Okay. And I'm eating like I eat the Beach Bars because they're gluten-free, they're dairy-free, and like they're soy-free, all the things I can't have. And so I'm like repeatedly eating Beach Bars, and I'm like not even hungry. And so in that moment, there's a time when I would have got like, I'm hungry, like I'm not even hungry. What am I doing? Why am I eating this? And taking that moment to stop and be like, I'm not hungry, but I am overwhelmed. When I'm overwhelmed, oftentimes I'll go to eating something. what can I do instead? So recognizing when we do something that's out of our alignment with our goals, say you say you're going to go to a holiday party, and then like at myself, like you're like halfway through the cheesecake, and I can't have dairy, but I love cheesecake. So when you're halfway through that cheesecake, and I don't mean like the slice, like, I mean, I would be going for like the whole thing, but okay, so it's not what you want to do. Stop, pause, acknowledge, like, okay, that's not what I wanted to do. How can I choose differently now? Like, what do I do now? Do I want to finish it? And if your answer is yes, finish it and enjoy it. And then, yep.
Can I mention, it's also important when you're starting to feel very hungry when you're working out, it means that you probably need to up the food intake that you are not giving yourself. So when I first started 80-day obsession, I would want to snack like every hour or so. And when I reached out to Erica and was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, I'm sticking to, you know, my nutrition to a T. And she's like, you are working out so much that your body needs more fuel and more energy. And so also remember that, like, when you are doing these workouts, when you are starting off, you want to make sure that you are fueling your body for what it needs. And sometimes that is like, oh, that comes in like, oh, I'm snacking, but it could mean something completely different. And so really checking that and making sure that you're aware of that too, because you could be, you know, bored or whatever, and you're like, I need a snack, but is it that boredom, or is it because your body is like really starving because you're not giving it the amount of nutrition that it needs at the moment? So sometimes I had to figure that out myself, because there are times where I will get bored and then I'll just go and eat everything in the cabinet, or I'm like, I am just so hungry that there's something else more to this. It's not just my boredom.
Yeah. And I think that's, Shanice, that kind of reminds me, guys, if you're using Ultimate Portion Fix, your program is going to tell you what bracket you're in. That is also a guideline. I, every single time, fall into bracket A. I cannot eat in bracket A, because if I eat in bracket A, I will get 3 weeks in and I will not be giving my body the amount of food and nutrients that it needs. So if anybody is really rigid and you have a set of rules, and if those rules are laid out for you and you have to follow those rules, holidays can be really hard. Life can be really hard, because it's like, well, that's what the rule says, but I feel differently. We are not here to invalidate what our gut is telling us. If your gut is telling you something and it truly and honestly, like, you're able to check in and be like, I am tired, I'm getting brain fog. One of mine is I want peanut butter all the time. Like, something feels off. Don't ignore your gut. Just because a piece of paper says, I need to do it this way. If you're at your mom's, or you're at your like friends, or you're even at home just with your small family, and you want a snack and you're hungry and you check in and you want a snack, honoring your body is going to be more important every single time. Like, one of the things, and Megan, you spoke to it a lot, of not compensating your food. Not compensating and saying, I'm going to have a big meal later, so I can't eat now. I don't know about each of you, but I will say, like, nutrition is my biggest struggle, because I have a whole lot that's been wrapped up in my narrative around nutrition. And I think just as individuals in today's society, there's a lot that goes into nutrition. There is a lot that goes into body image. There's a lot that goes into how much you should or should not eat in order to feel or look a certain way. And even though how we look is not equated with how we feel, we have been taught to believe that it is. And I think one of the biggest things going in is my focus every single day, and I have to remind myself, is, am I nourishing a relationship with my mind and body that is built on respect instead of on punishment? Am I nourishing a relationship with my mind and body that's built on respect instead of on punishment, instead of on hate, instead of on self-loathing? Am I restricting myself because I feel like it will make me get to a certain standard that I have been taught to believe I need to be? So I'm going to kind of shift out of mindset a little bit. If there's anything else that pops up, feel free to put it in the chat, because if you let me go, I'll go all day long. So I need to like narrow myself. Tangible tips. If you're following Ultimate Portion Fix, you can get the resources. So from Fixate, if you go into the Fixate tab in BOD, there is actually a breakdown of all the different recipes. And if you have Monthly Fix will actually have all the December recipes, all the November recipes they're going to include holiday recipes. If you need help putting that planning together or kind of fitting it into a meal plan, reach out to one of the coaches. Like say I'm your coach, even if I'm not available a certain day, I'm going to plug you in with one of the other coaches that is, or we're going to find a time that does work. It can be really, really confusing and complex to sit down the first couple of times and plan a holiday meal and decide like, how is this going to fit with my containers? And is it okay for me to give and take a little bit? First of all, it is okay to give and take a little bit. But B, you don't have to do it alone. Like just because you can do it alone, just because you're capable of being able to put that plan together doesn't mean that you have to, because chances are like I've been doing this since 2016. It took me until 2019 to actually get my ducks in a row when I could sit down and do a container plan easily for myself. Like it's going to be easier for me to look at the container plan and help step you through it than it is going to be for somebody that just started to do it. Same thing with Erin. And Erin's got food allergies. So Erin has learned how to modify so that it fits the containers. Like I do too, but I don't sub because I like changing things that are written on paper is really hard for me. So I just like follow it and like don't do the things I can't have. But we each have a different approach. So if you're like, I want to use the dairy-free like yogurt, like where does that fit? Like we have a team so we can all consult around that. And I think especially with the food allergies, having the freedom to see, and Stephanie, I know Stephanie has a lot of food allergies. Stephanie, not Stephanie B, other Stephanie Wade, yes, has a lot of food allergies as well. So really learning to get comfortable behind your no and saying like, I can't have that. My body doesn't respond well to that. And I shouldn't have had to tell the person that told me to like go eat a Reese's cup that I couldn't eat it because I had food allergies. It should have been enough for me to say, I don't want that, or, hey, that's none of your damn business. And yeah, Megan, because it isn't like, it's not anybody's business. And it's still okay for me to say like, I'm not able to eat that. That actually doesn't work for my body. And when people don't respect your no, it's reminding yourself that people don't get to sway your no just because it has to do with nutrition. I can't tell you how many times I've been like, there was something I ate. I don't remember what it was. There was something I ate the other day. Like, guys, the list of food sensitivities I have, like, it's like out of this world. And I was like, well, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'll just try it. Maybe I'm making it up in my head. If you have food sensitivities and food allergies, you are not making that up in your head. And other people telling you it's not real doesn't make it not real. Like, you are not responsible for everybody else's reaction to you. If you know that you put it in your body, or you know that you put it in your mind and it doesn't work for you, somebody else can disagree with you. And it's not easy all the time to say that's okay, because sometimes it feels like it's not okay. And at the end of the day, their approval is not worth you undermining yourself. And I think it's remembering that, where am I approving of myself, or am I seeking approval from this person? Because I think when we get in that external realm, then we're at the mercy of everybody else's judgments all the time. And it's hard to shift into, no, I know this and I feel this, and this is how I'm going to make my decisions. But we strengthen that muscle by doing it over and over and over. Other tangible resources, because Stephanie, I know you do 2B. If you go into Mindset Menu, there is actually an entire holiday tab for 2B Mindset. So if you go into 2B Mindset and you click down and go into Mindset Menu, it has holiday recipes. Becky, I don't know if you've been in there also and seen them. Like, she's just released a bunch of, like, there's holiday recipes. So you can go on and say you're going to, I don't know who's doing what for holidays this year, just given like the world. But if you're going somewhere and taking it, you can go in and look for a dessert. If you know desserts might be your trigger, like those are the things you're going to go for, go and find a comparable one that looks like it's going to keep your attention. Volunteer to bring that to the potluck. Show up with the root medley. Take that stuff with you. Take your bottle of water. I don't have it with me, but if you've ever seen me like go anywhere, I have a half-gallon jug of water that I literally carry with me all the time. Because if everybody else is drinking something or everybody else is eating something, I want something in my hands and I want to be able to do something. So I will take with me that half-gallon jug of water. I will bring tea, like tea packets. I go to parties and I bring tea packets with me because I know that that's Erin's laughing at me because I show up at her house with tea packets. Like there's not enough tea in the world for like to sink a boat there. But like come prepared with those alternatives for yourself. So you're not sitting there with nothing. That way you can have something on your hands. If you are drinking Shakeology, take your shake with you, make your shake and take it with you. It's going to fill you up and it's going to make you feel like you're not missing out on other things. Just because you're not eating the same things as everybody else, or you don't want to, or maybe you do want to. Yeah, LaCroix. I used to put my pre-workout in LaCroix. Yes, I used to put pre-workout in my LaCroix and take that with me. Make it yours. Just you can still enjoy the activity without doing exactly the same things as everybody else. I'm going to stop talking though, because Erin's still going to talk and I will legit just keep going. But anything that hops up, like go ahead and throw it in the chat. So I'm going to mute myself. Erin, I'm going to pass it to you.
All right. So not that I'm like the resident like expert on all things like alternate, but I have had food allergies for a decent amount of my life. And so I'm more used to telling people no when it comes to food and things like that. But my first kind of tip for you guys is, and this is just tip in life in general, is communication is super, super important. Like telling your family if you're going to family's house ahead of time is key, because then yes, you might have to be like, oh, I can't have that. But if you've communicated that with them already, because, I'm doing this new nutrition thing, I'm trying to get healthier, that kind of stuff, making sure that they know that ahead of time is super helpful. And then when you remind them, oftentimes they'll be like, oh, right, yeah, okay, that's fine. I know that some families are very much food pushy families too. And so, or food is like a huge part of your like culture within your family. So I totally understand that too, but just making sure that you communicate with them ahead of time is very, very important. I've said this during the November Thanksgiving call as well, but it is okay to bring your own food. And Erica kind of hit on that too, but 110% it is okay to bring your own food. I frequently bring my own food. There has been many Thanksgivings where I bring my entire Thanksgiving meal to whoever's house I was going to, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to eat anything. So it is 100% okay to bring your own food, making sure that you communicate that like, hey, the reason I'm bringing my own food is not because I don't like what you're giving or whatever you're providing, but like I'm eating this certain way, or I can't eat some of the things that you've brought. So I wanted to make sure I could still participate. And it's okay to not eat and drink all the things. I know like in my family, cheese and that kind of thing is huge. I can't eat cheese. I cannot have anything dairy whatsoever. I have the gluten, dairy, and soy allergies. And so there's a lot of things that I can't eat. So it is okay to not eat and drink all the things. The other thing is if you're hosting, you have all the freaking power. Like you can create the meal plan that everyone else is going to eat. For Thanksgiving this year, my dad was like, hey, I'm going to be alone. You're going to be alone. Do you want to come up? And I was like, sure, but I'm making all the food. So I literally made all the things. And we had one of the healthiest Thanksgivings we've ever had, because A, this is how I eat all the time. And they kind of just learned to deal with it. B, I can't have so many, all the things when it comes to like Thanksgiving foods. Yes, I made a lot of alternative stuff. But he just kind of ended up eating it and it was fine. So if you're hosting, you have the power. So yeah, maybe you're hosting and you're having a couple family members come over and they're bringing stuff with them. Well, that's great. Everyone else can have it. But then if the core of the meal is what you've designed and what you've kind of created that follows whatever nutrition plan you're following, and half the time people don't even know anyways. If you make any of the recipes that's on 2B or Ultimate Portion Fix, like those things are freaking good. It's not like, oh, well, I'm eating healthy, so I'm eating basic cardboard. It's like they're actually good. And half the time people don't even realize like, oh, this was something healthy. Like my stepbrother came over for Thanksgiving and he was eating all this stuff and he's like, wow, this is super good. And I was like, hey, did you know there's no gluten, there's no dairy, there's no soy in any of these things? And he was like, oh. Like people don't realize, because health food and recipes have come so freaking far from where like healthy food used to be, or like alternative products used to be, that most of the time people are not going to even realize that, like, oh, I just ate this, Ultimate Portion Fix carrot cake, and that's actually good for me, or relatively good for me compared to like a different carrot cake. They're still going to enjoy it. So keeping in mind that if you are hosting, you have a lot more power in terms of that. Also, just as a reminder in general, historically, because I'm a history teacher and Steph V is a history teacher, that holidays have always been about coming together with groups of people and not around food. Food has been something that we've like pushed into the narrative of these holidays, and especially in America, we've pushed in the like really not so great foods. And so keeping in mind that like these holidays are about being with your family, being with the ones you love, and keeping that at the core rather than eating all the food at the core of why you guys are getting together, why you guys are doing stuff. And then maybe add in like holiday movement. I know in my family, we're huge when it comes to like getting outside and doing stuff. And I know that's maybe not the case for everyone, but maybe planning in like, we're going to go for a walk before dinner or after dinner or whatever. Maybe you're going to go for a hike during the weekend, or you're going to go skiing, or whatever you might be doing. So, adding in those little things as well during the holidays is something that you're still doing as like an activity together. You're still doing, family, community kind of things, but it's not surrounded by food. Maybe it's like, oh, we're going to play a board game together, or maybe we're going to, like I said, go for a walk. So there's other activities that you can do that's not necessarily like we're going to sit down and we're going to drink, 5 glasses of wine, or we're going to sit down and we're going to eat a, big slice of cake, whatever it might be. There's other aspects of the holidays that like don't involve eating food. And then, also remembering to eat veggies. Like, I know that sounds silly and like what you've been told since you were a small child, probably. But like we know that we're going to be eating things that maybe aren't necessarily the healthiest, or maybe not necessarily exactly 100% on our plan, but knowing just to kind of incorporate like, oh, you know what, I'm going to have like a little bit extra carrots today. I'm going to have a little bit extra broccoli. Like, having those extra veggies, or having that kind of, stuff that is good for your body, good fuel for your body, just adding a couple little things in, because you're like, you know what, I feel like this is what my body needs right now. Because like everyone has already said, taking out the things that you love and taking out the things that you enjoy is not going to be sustainable or help you stay successful in the long run, especially if this is your first holiday using or eating differently than maybe you might be used to. Like I said, I have been eating differently for a while now, so it's pretty easy for me to, if I go to family events or friends' houses or whatever, be like, no, sorry. Like I had a baby shower I went to yesterday, and I literally couldn't eat a single thing at the thing. And they kept going, oh, do you want a cupcake, or do you want this or that? And I'm like, nope, sorry, can't. But I don't feel the like, not necessarily shame, but the like feeling bad around saying no anymore. But I do know what that feeling is like, because for a very long time I felt very bad about saying no, I can't have this or whatever, right? And so getting kind of used to that, saying no, or saying, hey, like I'm eating a different way now, or I'm trying to be healthier. And like, yes, maybe it sucks that you have to use an explanation, but eventually people are going to realize that like, oh, they aren't going to eat this, but maybe if I make this other thing for them, they'll maybe eat it. I think it's a little bit easier for me as well, because my family, for the most part, is very on board. So like my Christmas this year, if my mom comes up, she does semi-ultimate portion fix. She's not 100%, but she also does the workouts with me. So, and my dad, he does the workouts as well now. And so a lot of my family is very much, because we are activity-oriented family, a lot of like our holiday traditions involves exercise of some kind. And so it is a little bit easier for me, but every family is different. And so learning how to incorporate these things into your family traditions, or making new family traditions, I think is something that's very key to being successful at the holidays, and not feeling like sad or like, oh, well, this holiday sucked this year because now I'm doing this new thing. So that's kind of what I have in terms of like holiday nutrition. I've kind of talked previously, and there's some lives on our Facebook page as well, where I've talked about nutrition in general around like Thanksgiving holiday and all that kind of stuff. So feel free to go and watch those as well. If you guys have food allergies and you would like some, tips and tricks, or you just have food sensitivities, whatever it might be, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to chat about, helping you figure out how the lists will work best for you, or how to find like alternate products for X, Y, and Z. But I could also go on a call for like 500 hours talking about food allergies and all that kind of stuff. And I do want to get to the like things to look forward to in December. Us 4 coaches have planned a crap ton of stuff, and I'm so excited for it. It is on the calendar in Facebook as well. But for those of you guys who have not seen it, or just kind of as a reminder, tomorrow launches 9-Week Control Freak for the coaches. So if you are not a coach and you would like to be like the VIP member, which is basically you get all the like bonuses. So you get like the discounts on the products, and you get access to the early access to the releases. Talk to your coach about that, because they can get you signed up for that. But coach purchase window opens tomorrow. So stoked. We are going to be doing a like team group pod thing in January. So keep an eye out for that. Doing 9-Week Control Freak together, because there's so many crazy Autumn fanatics in this group. And we love her, and we're so excited. So that's tomorrow. Then at the end of the week on Saturday, we're going to be posting the time and stuff for that. So keep an eye out. But we are going to be having a team cookie baking event. We're going to get on a Zoom call like this. We're going to bake or decorate cookies. You can bring whatever type of cookie you want, obviously, because we are social distance, and because most of us are all over the different places within the United States. But we're basically just going to like make and decorate cookies together. It's going to be a lot of fun. But previous to that, on the 10th, we have Hanukkah starting. And in honor of Hanukkah, Madison, in honor of Hanukkah, we decided we were going to do a 7 days of gift giving. So Megan's going to be posting different things throughout that week. And you're going to follow the directions on the post. And it's going to be something like, what's your favorite Christmas movie, or whatever it might be. There will be a directions post as well, in terms of explaining like how to do all of the rules that go through the 7 days of gift giving. But basically you're going to post on that, like respond to that post. And then we'll put you into a drawing, and one person will randomly win a little goodie prize throughout those 7 days, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. And just because, December, Christmas is not the only holiday that is celebrated in December. We have a variety of other holidays that are also celebrated in December. So we wanted to make sure we could incorporate some of that into our team as well. Next week's call is going to be all about learning about 9-Week Control Freak, because the following week after that is when customers are able to purchase 9-Week Control Freak if they want. So we're going to be talking and chatting all about what you should know about 9-Week Control Freak, why we are so stoked about it, why we are excited that it's coming out, and things. My dad is so stoked about it, because I was already talking to him about it. It is going to be one of the coolest programs I think we've seen for a while. It has this awesome track, which I know we're going to be talking more about next week, that's mimicking kind of gym equipment that I know a lot of people have been missing. So I'm really excited. But next week's team call is going to be all things 9-Week Control Freak, learning about this new program that's going to be releasing. And then on the 16th, which is our last day of the gift giving, we are going to have a special gift in our Facebook page. We do Wildcard Wednesdays every once in a while, which is basically one of us coaches are going to come pop on and do a live talking about some random topic that relates to health or nutrition or fitness or whatever. And so our last day of gift giving, not only are you entered into the drawing, but you also get the gift of Megan coming in and talking about our Wildcard Wednesday. And then, like I said, the following team call is going to be breaking up with the scale. Megan's going to also pop in and do that one, which I'm so stoked about, because I know that scales can be horrible issues mind-wise for a lot of us. And so breaking up the scale and making sure that we know that the scale, doesn't define our worth, that we, aren't defined by the little number that pops up. On the 21st is when all the customers can access 9-Week Control Freak and buy their bundles to get ready for January. We won't have any team call the last week of December just because it is the holidays. We want to make sure that if you're traveling or going to be with family or whatever, that you don't feel that you need to like jump onto one of these calls, because I know that especially if you're home for the holidays or have people over, whatever it might be, craziness, busyness, schedules, all that kind of stuff. And then that kind of leads us into January. But during the week of Christmas, we are going to do another 5K. We're calling it the Run Rudolph 5K. And so you'll have a week at some point if you want to participate, whether you walk it, whether you jog it, whether you run it, whether you walk / jog / run, whatever you're doing, we're going to be doing a 5K. We are still discussing if we want to donate to a charity or not with that, because the last one was done over Thanksgiving, and that was a charity that Beachbody had decided on, and so it was through the entire company, but we decided we really enjoyed that 5K, so we wanted to do another one. So we'll be doing another 5K sometime during the week of Christmas. But other than that, that is a lot. I know that is hard to remember, but like I said, there's the calendar in our Facebook page. It's all Christmassy and red and green and whatnot. And so that has all those dates on there as well.
Erin, I forgot to tell you before you made the calendar, Spirit Week is next week. So you guys will see, if you're new to the group, like and it'll be posted in BOD group also. Once a month we do a week where it's Spirit Week, and it's for fun, it's for community, and it usually of course it's holiday themed this month, but it's stuff like wear a Christmas sweater, wear a holiday sweater for one of your workouts, or like put on fun socks. And so that'll be next week. And so the daily posts, we have the daily workout posts to check in, they will become the Spirit Week posts. So if you want to do Spirit Week, it's there. If not, totally okay, but just look forward to that, because I know some people really like Spirit Week every month.
And the calendar will be posted, yes or no, Erica and Erin, into our new BOD group, the Refresh BOD group, the small one that we're starting today.
So I
I
think
can post it in there if we want to.
Okay,
I would say
cool.
we can do that, or Shanice, you and I we can put it in there so they have it. Yeah.
Okay. We can figure that out later. I just wanted to know.
Does anybody have, I know it's almost 10 o'clock. Does anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourself and ask, or you can throw them in the chat. I will watch the chat and I have ears, so I can do both at the same time. Welcome to my life, everybody.
Squirrel syndrome.
And welcome to me and Steph's life. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself or drop them in the chat. The number of times I say that every week is ridiculous.
Then they just sit there and stare at you, or you see this.
Oh, I don't even get to see that. Mine's just blank screens with their little initials. That's it.
Oh no,
yeah.
I usually just get this, or just like ceiling fans. I'm like, you gotta turn that off, or you're giving me a headache. But Erica, it is hard to talk and teach and read the comments at the same time.
Yeah, my brain just doesn't do, I'm really good at doing one or the other. Like I can't do both interchangeably, just like I can't write and talk at the same time.
No, it's so hard. I even have a co-teacher, and it's just like, but then they private message you, and I'm like, wait, hold on, wait.
I have a question, because I'm also a teacher, and I really messed up all through COVID. I ate and drank and did all the things. And back to school, I can only take my mask off pretty much at lunch. So I can't snack throughout the day. I'm not drinking my water throughout the day. So when I come home, it's like 3 dinners.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
how are other teachers dealing with that?
I am completely remote.
Oh, okay.
I just like, my school is in like the worst county. I'm in Illinois, so my school is just in the worst county for cases, and there happens to be like 4,000 students in my school, so they're like, nah. But I mean, can you at least have like a straw on something and just like shove it up underneath your mask?
Yeah, but I don't have a sink in my room, so I can't, like, I don't even feel comfortable because I can't wash my hands. You know, like I'm not gonna like mess with my water bottle and pull down my mask because we're not socially distant at all. I have like 30 kids at school.
Wow.
What?
Holy moly. So do you get breaks at all?
Back, I guess. Do what?
Do you get breaks at all? I know that some teachers get like bathroom breaks or.
Oh, no. On one day I get a conference, on the other day I don't.
I was gonna say, girl, no, you hold your pee for 8 hours. That's
Really?
bathroom breaks aren't real.
Yeah,
Yes.
teachers don't get bathroom breaks. What are you talking about?
We don't
Oh
get
my
bathroom
gosh.
breaks.
Denise,
You guys are superheroes because I am not, I wouldn't be able to do that. You guys seriously changed the world.
I would say day
Stephanie,
treat.
not Varner, the other one. What program are you following? Are you doing UPF or are you doing 2B?
To be.
I'm trying to get, no, I'm on UPF. I'm trying to get back on it. But like I said, I'm meal prepping my lunches. I just made them today.
Yeah.
So I'm like way under my calories throughout the
Right.
day. So yeah, I'm having an issue of
My
getting
tip for
things in.
you is because I teach virtually right now. We're supposed to be going back to hybrid sometime soon, which anywho. But
Literally the
I
worst.
am the teacher who during the year, regular school year, has kids in there 24/7. Like I don't even have a lunch because I have kids in there during lunchtime all the time. And so I found that when I
guys are
tried
too
to
nice.
do timed nutrition, it didn't work for me because of that reason. And so my 3 meals during the week are larger quantities than like say if you were following the like time nutrition, because I knew that wouldn't work for me. I couldn't eat the certain meals at the certain times, which I think will lend itself to you and how you can't really take your mask off during the day. And so my breakfast is going to be a bigger meal. My lunch is going to be a bigger meal. My dinner is going to be a bigger meal. I would normally have an after school snack, which is my Shakeology, because I make that as soon as I get home during the day. But I also am the technical director for our drama program. So I would be at school for really long periods of time as well. And so I think this potentially would work for you until whatever society figures out with all the dumb, anyways. But using kind of maybe your meal is going to have more than like the 3 containers in it, right? So like my lunches, my dinners, my breakfast have more containers in them than like what the time nutrition says, because it wouldn't work for me. I don't have the time. I don't have the opportunity to like, oh, at 10 o'clock, I'm going to eat a snack. Just because that just didn't work with my schedule. Granted, it probably would work now just because I don't actually see children, but I still have kept to that because it works for me. And so I think that would probably be my suggestion to you is, not sticking to time nutrition, just sticking to Ultimate Portion Fix, because that has more flexibility in terms of what your meals look like. And so like, for example, my meals this week, I'm going to have like 2 greens, a red and a yellow and a teaspoon in one meal, which if you're doing, time nutrition is not a thing, but that's just because that's how it works for me. And so I've done Ultimate Portion Fix without time nutrition just because I can't do time nutrition with my schedule and my job and all that.
That's how it is for me too. As a nurse, like I get the 1 break a day. So, and I'm lucky if I get more, at least 30 minutes.
Right.
So I front load my days. So like my breakfast is always a bigger meal because then I can last until lunch. And then I eat my lunch. And then sometimes when I get home, I'm really bad about making myself dinner, but I'll usually like save my shake for the end of the day, or I'll save like a smaller meal at the end of the day. Cause I've realized like if I eat something super heavy at night, it doesn't work as well for me, but I front load my days. So I have my breakfast before I go in, and then I get my 15-minute lunch break if I get that. Cause at the hospital that I was working at, you don't get breaks. Like there's no such thing. And so I would have to pack in all of I don't know necessarily, they say is like calories in, calories out kind of thing. And as long as you're eating the containers during the day, I was trying to read all these studies on it, like blood sugar levels and things like that. But as long as you're just fitting the right amount of containers in, it should be good to just like front load and then have your lunch and then maybe save like something smaller for dinner. That's just what worked. But I don't know what time you guys get home, because
I was
my
gonna say
dinner was
like,
small because I eat at 8 o'clock at night or 8:30.
oh geez.
That's like
I was
getting
gonna say
home.
also like pack a decent sized like snack and just leave it in your car. So like when you're driving home, you can like have something right then. So then like when you get home, you don't binge. Like, I mean, I used to be the exact same way. I work through lunch, or like they schedule meetings during my lunch period. And I literally would go from 6:30 in the morning till about 4 o'clock and like not ever stop. And then I get home and just eat like potatoes. I just eat a lot of potatoes 'cause they're delicious.
Potatoes.
But
I would make a lot of muffins too. Now I didn't like, I never actually, I could have taken breaks, but I didn't take my breaks. But I was in an inpatient unit, so I also couldn't have any silverware. And right now it's a little bit hard with COVID, but like ultimately as things move forward, like I would make a lot of muffins and stuff that I could just like eat with my hands. I would put all of my containers for the day in a lunchbox, take that with me. And then literally I would have like an apple banana muffin, like halfway through the morning, and peppers. And then I would have a lemon muffin late. Like everything was like handheld, and I literally could shove it in my mouth and eat it in 5 minutes, because I didn't get a dedicated break that was like an hour long, or I could have, and I didn't make time for it. Kayla's on this call and can like at me all the time because I can't tell you how many times she told me to take my break. But like just those things that were handheld and easy to go, like a meal doesn't necessarily have to be, I had to reframe my idea that like I had to sit down and have like this taco bowl. Like it could be peppers and a banana and a muffin, and like be able to eat that throughout the day. And I am somebody like, I can't go those extended periods of time because like I will crash in the middle. So like I would just eat small things throughout the day.
girl, I'm so sorry you're at school. That's just that's not nice.
Well, the word on the street is we're not ever shutting down. Like we have cases, we're in Texas and the governor says, wear your mask and keep on going. We're not doing another shutdown.
Jesus, take the wheel.
That's
right.
That's not how pandemics work, my friend. So
We make our own rules here. Like this is, that's like
I mean,
Yes.
that's what Washington's about to do. They're
What?
like, because they're shutting down but they're saying we don't want to shut down schools and they want to go back to schools. And so they're working to change the rules just for schools. Love it.
We were staring at in person and online at the same time in the same room while I do all of it. And I went, no.
We did that,
No,
we did that
baby,
until
no.
this last
I
week.
said, no.
Dang.
That's
In
Nicole.
January, everyone has to come back, but we've done the Zoom, like the asynchronous the whole time. And that's the reason we're having problems with social distancing, because some of the kids came back and they might all be in one class. And then at another time, there's no way to figure out, who's coming back, who's not coming back. But in January, they don't have the choice to stay at home anymore.
Wow.
holy shit.
It is 10:06. I just want to let everyone know that if you do need to go for whatever reason, please feel free. We are
Feel
done
free to hop
giving
off.
our talk and spiel about food and stuff. If you do want to stick around and talk more about what can be helpful for you, please do. But yeah, thanks for coming. I just want to let whoever is here, if they wanted to